In the land of ash-gray skis, silence carried the weight of promises made long ago. The wind moved like a slow hand across the hills, and the stones remembered names that no living mouth would speak. Here, oaths were carved into rock and kept in the hollow of the chest, where they warmed and burned in equal measure. A lone figure stands at the edge of the wood, cloak drawn tight against the damp. His face is a map of restraint, eyes steady and unreadable, as if the world's small cruelties have taught him to hold everything inward. He does not shout, he does not laugh, he keeps his breath measured, as if sound might loosen the fragile order of things. The ring of stones sits on a low rise, half swallowed by fog. Moss softens the edges, rain has smoothed the runes, and the circle waits like a patient judge. Men have come here to swear and to break, to bind themselves with words that later fray. The stones have seen both kinds of vows and keep their counsel in the cold. He traces the carved lines with a finger that remembers other hands. Each groove is a ledger of trust, each mark a ledger of debt. The motion is small, almost ritual, and in it there is a memory of a time when names were spoken with certainty and shoulders bore the weight of loyalty without complaint. Two silhouettes cross the ridge, their cloaks whispering against the grass. They walk without hurry, as if the land itself demands a slow pace. Between them there is a quiet that is not empty but full of things unsaid, a tension like the taut string of a bow waiting for a reason to sing. A glance passes, brief and precise, and in that instant the world shifts. Suspicion is a small thing at first, a pebble dropped into still water, but its ripples reach far. A look can rearrange the map of a life, can plant a seed that grows into a root of doubt, and once rooted it is hard to uproot. The longhouse stands with its dark rafters and low fire, a place where faces are lit by ember and shadow. Men gather and speak in measured tones, but the hearthlight does not warm every heart. Authority sits at the head of the hall like a carved thing, solid and indifferent, and the king's silence is a language all its own. He listens to the words offered, to the pledges that sound like music until they are tested. The king's face gives nothing away. His eyes are the color of old iron. He asks for loyalty as if it were a coin to be spent, and men give it because they must, not because they are free to choose. A warrior kneels and bows his head, the motion precise and practiced. He speaks the words expected of him, but inside there is a small, persistent question that will not be quieted. Obedience can be a mask, and beneath it the heart keeps its own counsel, weighing and measuring what it will and will not bear. Night comes without fanfare, and in the dark the smallest betrayals find room to breathe. A whisper behind a curtain, a hand that lingers where it should not, a promise traded for a favor, these are the soft instruments of ruin. Betrayal rarely arrives with trumpets, it slips in on the souls of ordinary days. Two men meet beneath a low sky, voices low and careful. Their words are measured, each syllable chosen to leave no trace. They speak of advantage and of survival, of debts that must be repaid in ways the law will not record. In the hush between them, a plan takes shape that will unmake more than it intends. A blade is hidden beneath a cloak, its edge kept from the light. The motion to draw it is almost tender, practiced and precise, as if the hand that wields it has learned to be gentle with violence. The act is small, a single movement, but it changes the geometry of every life it touches. When the clash comes, it is not glorious. There is no triumphant cry, only the dull sound of bodies meeting and the wet hush that follows. Shields lie like broken promises on the ground, and the fog takes the shapes of men and leaves them indistinct. Victory tastes of ash and regret. The king's hall is quieter now, the fire a thin memory. Cloaks hang heavy and unused, and the throne is a cold thing in a room that once hummed with command. Power remains, but it is a brittle thing, its edges softened by the weight of what it has cost to hold it. He stands among the aftermath with eyes that have learned to measure loss without spectacle. Regret is not a shout but a steady pressure behind the ribs, a knowledge that some things cannot be undone. He carries the consequence like a stone in his pack, heavy and constant, and he does not seek absolution. The circle of stones gathers mist as if to hide its scars. Each rune holds a story of a promise kept or broken, and the fog makes all of them equal for a moment. Memory thickens in the damp air, and the past presses close, not to accuse but to remind. Alone on a windswept hill, he looks out over the land that has been shaped by hands like his and by hands unlike his. The horizon is a soft, unending gray, and the world seems to hold its breath. He thinks of the faces he has trusted and the faces that turned away, and the thought is a quiet ache. The stones watch from low angles, patient and indifferent. They have no need for pity, no appetite for revenge. They simply stand, and in their standing they mark the passage of men who come and go, who swear and who fail, who leave their marks and then are gone. The hall is empty now, dust settling on the long table where once plans were made. Chairs are pushed back as if in haste, and the silence is a presence that fills the room. It is not the silence of peace, but the silence of things that have been used up. A small token lies on cold rock, a scrap of cloth or a carved bead, something meant to be kept close. It is a fragment of a vow, a physical memory of a promise that has frayed at the edges. He picks it up and turns it in his hand, feeling the texture of what was and what remains. Fingers brush a cairn of stones, a quiet ritual of remembrance. Each pebble is a name, a day, a debt. He adds his touch and moves on, not to forget but to acknowledge. Ritual is a way of keeping the past from collapsing into nothing, a way to give shape to sorrow. Dark water laps at a rune-marked shore, and the reflection offers no comfort. The face that looks back is the same and not the same, altered by the ripple of choices. The water keeps its own counsel, and the shore keeps the footprints of those who passed and did not return. In the rival's shadowed face there is a stillness that is not remorse. It is a cold, steady thing, the kind of calm that comes when a man has made his peace with what he has done. There is no triumph there, only the quiet of someone who has accepted the cost. A valley filled with mist reveals the outlines of ruined outposts and broken fences. The land bears the scars of decisions made in rooms like the one he left. Betrayal does not only wound people, it reshapes the places they inhabit, leaving hollows where life once took root. Footprints fade into fog, some leading away and some continuing on. Paths diverge and converge, and the choices that send a man down one road rather than another are often small and almost invisible. Yet those small choices accumulate until they become the shape of a life. A small flame is lit and then allowed to die, a deliberate act of farewell. The light is brief and intimate, a private ceremony for what has been lost. Letting it go is not surrender but acknowledgement, a way to mark an ending without spectacle. The stone circle blurs at the edges as fog thickens, and the runes become soft with distance. Memory, like weather, changes the landscape of the mind. What once seemed sharp and immediate becomes a softened outline, a story told in low tones. His profile against the rune is steady and unadorned. There is no joy in his expression, only the steady weight of consequence. He has learned that some burdens do not lighten with time, they simply become part of the shape of a man. He walks into the mist without looking back, each step deliberate and unhurried. There is no dramatic departure, no final speech. He moves as one who has accepted that some things cannot be repaired, only carried. The horizon swallows him slowly, and the world keeps its quiet. An empty throne holds a single draped cloak, a final sign of what remains when power has been stripped of its ceremony. The cloak is heavy with the scent of smoke and rain, and it hangs like a memory of authority that no longer commands. A weathered blade rests lodged in stone, its edge dulled by time. It is a symbol without blood, a reminder that violence leaves marks even when it does not spill life. The metal is cool and indifferent, and the rune at its hilt is worn smooth by hands that have long since gone. The stones and the lone figure fade into dense fog, and the saga closes not with a trumpet but with a long, steady silence. There is no triumph here, only the quiet consequence of choices made and the slow, patient work of memory to hold them. In the end, the story is not about winners or losers but about the small, human acts that shape fate. Loyalty is a fragile thing, and betrayal is often born of necessity, fear, or the slow corrosion of trust. The land keeps its record, and the stones keep their counsel, and men continue to walk the paths they have chosen.